Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Kulbhushan Chandel from Himachal Pradesh University Shimla. Today we are going to talk on module Future of Organization Development from paper Organizational Change and Development. Let me know that what we are going to learn from this module. We will study the emerging organizational development skills. We will discuss the trends of organizational development. We will study the challenges of organizational development. We will study the scope of organizational development. We will be discussing the strengths of organizational development. And finally, we will explore the future of organizational development. In the present era of globalization, the organizations are operating in a competitive environment which is changing in production and communication technology day by day. Old organizational development is dying and there is need for the change in the organizational structure. It is not working well in this emerging environment. The new concept states that the most innovative and successful organization will be those that would derive their strengths and vitality by adopting a committed team at all levels and from all the specialists. In the future, the organizations would have smaller central staffs with more zeal, and delegations would be to small groups and units. High-focusing organization would focus on the customers and would continuously focus on quality improvements and on placing the high value on human resource development. Diversity and high-performing teams would be the future. The environment in which the organizations are working is increasingly turbulent in the era of global, regional, and national competitiveness. Production and communication technology are changing at an exponential rate. Further, dislocation of people, downsizing, and restructuring is important. Yesterday's strategies are not likely to work in tomorrow's work environment. High performance organizations focusing on the customer and continuous quality improvement and placing high value on human resources, diversity, and high performance teams will be the norms. Indian organizations have also realized and are readily setting skill upgradation and sweeping changes in the mindset of executives. Companies are increasingly emphasizing on the introduction of planned interventions and would ultimately lead to achievement of the strategic goals. Organization development will be a major player in assisting organizations to shift and to sustain this new paradigm to help in inventing the effective paradigms in future. The future of organization development is bright if the field continues to evolve. Emerging organization development skills. Various authors have emphasized on various skills which are important to be possessed by the organizational development practitioner in future. Some of these are as under: empathy, communication, and participation. Emerging OD skills that includes empathy. Managers should empathize the feelings and reaction of those people who are affected by the change. Then it comes communication. It is important to share the expected change and reasons for these changes. It has to be done well in advance. Then participation. The managers can get the participation of the people through receiving input before change is made. How participative input into change itself be made. trends within organization development. We can start it right from pragmatic, which includes emphasize value of effectiveness and increasing focus on relevant practices. Then the traditional return to original humanistic values and increasing focus on process interventions. Then the academic emphasize values of understanding and search for variables that explain change and effectiveness. Then the organization development will have poor conflicts in short term and will be more integrated in long term. Let me discuss all these in detail. There are various trends which are occurring in the organization development, and they have been categorized as traditional, pragmatic, and academic. Each trend has different vision with regard to what organizational development is and what it should be. These trends includes traditional trends. The first trend has to do with the increasing issue of organizational development, traditional values and practices. The traditional trend has been characterized by an increased focus on the process interventions. As per the traditional view, the organizational processes are transparent and possess integrity. Thus, the main aim of organizational development is to create such processes whether they lead to performance outcome of secondary importance. Then it is pragmatic trends. The second trend in organization development is related to the increasing demands for professionalism of the field and on emphasis on the relevance. The professionalism of organization development is in response to the growing number of people marketing themselves as organizational development practitioner without any formal training in the field. The pragmatic trend is distinguished by an emphasis on change technology, especially on change management. Academic trends. The third trend within organization development is related with increasing number of people making research contributions to our understanding of change. The academic trend focuses on the understanding, predictability, and controlling of change. It is less related with how is organization development defined and what are its values. Rather, it is more related with its practice. Challenges of organizational development. Companies nowadays are facing global and domestic competition, due to which there are many changes which the companies have to make. The degree of change varies from one organization to another. As the changes in the organizations are coming rapidly, so there is dire need to apply new organization development strategies for managing the change. Some of the main factors that affect organization development are explained as under. Organizational values and leadership. Management must place high values on the employees, group, and their performance. Organizations should be viewed as the place where people learn and achieve their personal growth. When the individual grow, the organizational growth is automatically achieved. Awareness about organizational development program. Organization development is generally considered as a long-term continuous process. It aims at modifying the individual behavior and group dynamics. So the organizational development process is considered as behavioral science. There is a need for more detailed published cases of organization development efforts and use of organization development processes in conjunction with other improvement strategies. Second generation organizational development. Increasingly, organizational development professionals distinguish between more modest evolutionary efforts towards the organizational improvement and those that are massive in a sense are considered as revolutionary. Certificate of OD practitioners. Many organizations conduct various development programs like seminars, conferences, and workshops. There are number of organizations with full-time organization development practitioners, but there is no organization that accredits the skill agents. Mergers, acquisitions, and alliances. Organizations have to adopt strategies of mergers, acquisitions, and alliances to be able to face competition in the global market. This is more important today due to technological advancement, knowledge explosion, and speed with which the information is being transferred from one location to another. Sense of community feeling. Organizational development heavily depends upon the behavior of the people in the organization. What is required is that the people have a common objective and try to channelize their energies and skill for the achievement of the bright organization development. Massive opportunities and potential is existing for the organizational development movement in the future. Organizational development practitioner must be well qualified to undertake the organization development work and implement intervention strategies with full dedication. Scope of organizational development in 21st century. The application of the organization development technology is growing rapidly. New models, techniques, and approaches are constantly being developed and old techniques being discarded. Various issues are discussed as under. Organizations transformation. This recent advancement in change strategy is used in the situation of drastic and abrupt changes when the survival of the organization is at stake. These situations comprises of mergers, acquisitions, product changes, and plant closures. These situations often lead to large scale layoffs and restructuring. Shared vision. This approach to organizational change involves getting all levels of management to identify the strategic vision of the future and what it takes to make it work. Then it is innovation. Organizations are focusing on the efforts of innovating, creating new products, goods, and services, and on new ways of organizing and relating among organizing members. Trust. The critical factor in changing organizational development is development of trust within individuals, teams, and organizational units and levels. Without trust, there can be no sustainable excellence in the organization. Then it comes empowerment. In order to develop high performing system, organizational members must be empowered with autonomy to do things in their own ways to achieve recognition and a sense of worth in their job. Learning organizations. The learning organization is the notion that learning is central to success. Management need to see the big picture, escape linear thinking, and understand delicate relationships. Organizational architecture, a symbol that forces managers to think more broadly about their organizations in terms of how they work, people, and formal and informal structures fit together. This often leads to autonomous work team and strategic alliances. Then it is core competencies. The idea for companies to identify and organize around what they do best for the corporate strategy should be based on the competencies that gives a company access to several markets and are difficult for the competitors to imitate. Fundamental strengths of organization development. The fundamental strength of organization development is that process which include careful tuning into the perceptions and feelings of the people, creating safe conditions for surfacing perceptions and feelings involving people in diagnosing the strengths and weaknesses of their organizations and making plans for improvements. Organization development should focus on the team and interdependent configurations, redesigning work so that is more meaningful and motivating, explicating, training people towards a participative, open, and team leadership method. Another fundamental strength has to do with the political and governmental environment. Organization development is highly compatible with democratic governmental structure and processes that are well established in many parts of the world. Strengths of organization development. Organization development practices are expanding since last 2 to 3 decades. These help in creating a blend of attention to people oriented processes with attention to the design of human technical system. There should be extensive use of employees' involvement in the socio-technical systems programs and in the use of organization development practitioners in the training and development of the self-managed teams. In the light of the present needs, organization development field clearly has enormous and vital role to play in the foreseeable future. Future of organization development. In the present era of global, national, and regional commercial competitiveness, the environment in which the organizations are working is becoming more and more unstable. The production and communication technology is also changing day by day. The future of organization development will depend on number of interdependent conditions. Most of these conditions are favorable to organization development. These conditions are the leadership and values. For the flourishing of organization development, top management, CEO, board of directors, including human resource personnel, must place high value on strong individuals, team, and organization performance with people-oriented values. As suggested by O'Toole, management can choose to create organizations that have both profitability and humanistic developmental objectives. The organization development consultant of the future has to concentrate on help provided by the management in looking for the social forces that might be operating in downsizing decisions about the consequences shown by research and about the alternatives available in solving them. Organization development process has its roots and flourishes in the direct proportion to the prevalence of the dual set of values. OD training. The quality of organization development training looks high in curriculum of the universities. Training experience, training offering of various consulting and training organizations and attention paid to organization development matters in conferences held for it. The future would have a need for the availability of T group training as a training intervention for aspiring OD practitioners and managers. Interdisciplinary nature of OD. The future of organization development is related to other disciplines also. Organization development has been an interdisciplinary and electric field. It has been built through theory, research, and practice in social psychology, adult education, community development, journal system theory, family group therapy, anthropology, sociology, human resource management, large conference management, and other fields. Diffusion of technique. Organization development techniques are widely distributed in society in parts of America, Canada, Europe, Asia, New Zealand, and elsewhere. In greater sense, it can be said that organization development practices are perceived as highly considerable value. There are still two problems in organization development. One problem is related with the techniques used without sufficient understanding of their theoretical and historical foundations, and other problem is the possibility of gradual diffusion of organizational development field across other specialties. Perhaps the solution lies in the availability and support for the quality training and research in organization development and in careful selection of consultant. The less mystery and more openness in the understanding of organization development are better. Integrative practice. It would be a challenge for one person to develop skills in all of the interventions. Organization development skills include total quality management, quality of work life, and re-engineering programs. The emphasis on team in total quality management and quality of work life makes organization development a neutral partner in all these efforts. The lack of emphasis on the participative approaches in re-engineering efforts makes organization development practitioner involvement less likely. Mergers, acquisitions, and alliances. Such interventions would require high degree of interpersonal, political, and cultural skill of consultant for consulting teams. Rediscovery and recording history. The history of organization development is essential for retaining and improving effective organization development interventions and approaches. Hundreds of interventions as devised by organization development practitioners have been tremendously successful in particular application and used perhaps two or more than two times again but never recorded. Search for community. Finally, it is believed that the search for community will increase the origination and their organizational development objectives in future. Outcomes such as production of high quality goods and services, making the profit and staying viable and competitive must be supported and must be made the subordinate goals for organizations. Organization development interventions take people towards a sense of community because the values underlying organization development stems largely from what people have said again and again in their interviews and safe group settings as to what they want from their organizations and from people. High performance and community. High organizational performance can be harmonious with and supportive of sense of community. It needs vision, time, empathy, skill, competence, commitment, and hard work to achieve either or both. An assessment of various groups on the task that where they are now and where they want to be should be made, and it would be a step towards a shared sense of community as well as towards higher organizational performance. Let's summarize what we have learned in this module. We have learned from this module that old organizational development is dying and there is a need for the change in the organizational structure. It is not working well in the emerging environment. The new concept states that the most innovative and successful organization will be those that would derive their strengths and vitality by adopting a committed team at all levels and from all the specialists. In the future, the organization would have smaller central staff with more zeal, and delegation would be to small groups and units. High focusing organization would focus on the customers and would continuously focus on quality improvements and on placing the high value on human resource development, diversity, and high performing teams would be the future. The environment in which the organizations are working is increasingly turbulent in the era of global, regional, and national competitiveness. We also came to know that production and communication technologies are changing at an exponential rate. Further, dislocation of people, downsizing, and restructuring is also important. Yesterday's strategies are not likely to work in tomorrow's work environment. Therefore, the high performance organizations focusing on the customers and continuous quality improvement and are placing high value on human resources, diversity, and high performance teams will be the norm. Indian organizations have also realized and are readily setting skill upgradation and sweeping changes in the mindset of the executives. The companies are increasingly emphasizing on the introduction of planned interventions and would ultimately lead to achievement of the strategic goals. We came to know that organization development will be a major player in assisting organizations to shift and to sustain this new paradigm to help in inventing the effective paradigms in future. The future of organization development is bright if the field continues to evolve. Various authors have emphasized on various skills which are important to be possessed by the organizational development practitioner in future. Some of these are empathy, communication, and participation. Managers should empathize the feelings and reactions of those people who are affected by the change. It is important to share the expected change and reason for these changes. It has to be done well in advance. The managers can get the participation of the people through receiving input before change is made and how participative input into change when it is made. There are various trends which are occurring in the organization development and they have been categorized as traditional, pragmatic, and academic. Each trend has different vision with regard to what organizational development is and what it should be. Massive opportunities and potential is existing for the organizational development movement in the future. Organizational development practitioners must be well qualified to undertake the organizational development work and implement intervention strategies with full dedication. The future of organizational development is bright as long as high quality hard work of the past continues. Thank you.